is this? This isn't Black Ops, this isn't even Call of Duty. This is a rejected Elden Ring mini-boss dipped in radioactive orange juice and shoved into my campaign. And unfortunately, this is the perfect symbol for what BO7's campaign has become. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're dissecting the catastrophe Treyarch boldly labeled as a campaign. A campaign that doesn't know if it wants to be a story, a live service treadmill, a co-op extraction mode, or an unholy fever dream conjured by someone who fell asleep watching BO1, DMZ, and a Marvel movie at the same time. Black Ops has always been psychological, but BO7 isn't psychological, it's psychotic. Let's begin with the most egregious sin. You cannot pause the campaign. You heard that right. A story mode that refuses to let you stop the story. Need to check your phone? Too bad. Need to walk your dog? He can wait. Need to blink? Unacceptable. This is a live service narrative, soldier. And if your internet drops for even a millisecond, disconnected. Mission failed. Start over. Don't cry. This design decision is, academically speaking, a war crime against single-player experiences. Now, allow me to discuss the narrative, or as the scholars may call it, a loosely associated compilation of events. The story feels as if an AI model was fed BO1 cutscenes, a Wikipedia page on CIA conspiracies, and a year's worth of Marvel scripts, and told to make something Black Opsy. Characters speak in disconnected fragments, motivations vanish into the void, the villain oscillates between cartoonish and barely awake, major plot beats arrive with all the grace of a brick thrown through a window. One could argue the story is merely unfinished, but that implies someone started it, right? What the hell happened? Since when did Black Ops decide it wanted to be God of War, Doom Eternal, and Sekiro at the same time? I'm not joking, somewhere in the middle of the campaign, the game just snaps and forgets it's Call of Duty. Suddenly you're not in a grounded boots on the ground ops mission anymore. You're in a glowing arena fighting a 3-phase boss like it's a 2018 Sony exclusive. You can picture the dev meeting. Hey, what if instead of covered ops, tense infiltration, and grounded set pieces, we throw in a giant supernatural mid-boss that teleports and does AoE attacks? And everyone said, yeah, sure. The problem isn't ambition, it's identity. Black Ops campaigns were always about momentum and intensity, but they still felt like military operations. High stakes, high action, but grounded enough to keep you in the world. Even when things got weird, like numbers, brainwashing, or reality bending, it still tied back to espionage, psychological tension, and the Cold War paranoia vibe. But now, it's just circle strafe until the boss finishes its one-shot laser. It whiplashes the tone. It kills the pacing. It feels like the campaign is constantly trying to be anything except the Black Ops campaign. These boss fights don't feel bold, they feel insecure. Like the game doesn't trust the story, so it leans on set-piece arenas to fill the gaps. And by the time you clear the last big health bar monster, you're not thinking about the narrative, or the mission stakes, or the characters. You're thinking, why am I playing a Call of Duty campaign with God of War mechanics? Half the missions feel like someone exported DMZ objectives into a campaign playlist. Hold a point, secure the area, hack a panel, extract, repeat until it's spiritually numb. Where are the set pieces? Where are the emotional beats? Where's the pacing? The missions don't escalate, they stretch. They don't build tension, they build timers. It's like they made a checklist and then forgot to add fun. Remember when they advertised Avalon as an open, modern-day sandbox city with dynamic storytelling potential? Yes? Well, forget all of that. Avalon is a hub, a loot area, a glorified waiting room for endgame, and a place where enemy AI occasionally forgets it has a job. You're not exploring a city, you're commuting through a content funnel. Next crime, no difficulty options. Why? Because difficulty adapts based on how many friends are in your lobby, which tells you the truth Treyarch didn't. This campaign was never meant for single players, it was meant as a co-op PvE farm. A story you can bring 3 buddies into because the story no longer matters. The cutscenes fluctuate between acceptable and this looks like a placeholder they forgot to delete. Voice lines cut abruptly, characters lack presence, emotional moments carry the weight of a helium balloon. The Black Ops series once set the standard for cinematic storytelling. Now it struggles to reach the standard of a mid-season zombie quest intro. And finally, the sad crescendo. The campaign exists primarily to unlock endgame content, gear, perks, progression systems, repeatable missions, XP loops. This is a narrative, it's onboarding. A campaign should enrich the universe, not advertise a mode. So yes, BO7's campaign is not merely disappointing, it is a structural failure dressed in nostalgic branding. Always online, unpausable, co-op dependent, narratively incoherent, disrespectful to beloved characters, and functionally a DMZ tutorial. Black Ops used to ask, what do the numbers mean? Now it asks how many enemies can we spawn before your internet breaks. Thank you for watching, and my condolences to anyone who expected a real campaign.